Spring in New York City is definitely one of the prettiest times of the year. Way better than the holidays, in my opinion. The weather is getting warmer, you can hear the birds chirping, and the flowers are blooming at every corner. Seeing cherry blossoms in particular are a major draw for both locals and tourists. I've been chasing the blooms in the city for years, so I know a thing or two when it comes to finding the best photo spots. This video is a comprehensive list around the city, but it's not complete. I'm only one person, and peak bloom is a limited amount of time, so there's some hidden gems that I haven't had a chance to visit yet and share with you. Guess you'll have to tune in for an updated video in the future or check out my other social media where I post more in real time. I mentioned in my Washington, D.C. cherry blossoms video that the cherry trees around Tidal Basin were a gift from the people of Japan to the US in the early 1900s. This is a similar history in New York as well. If you didn't see that video, I've linked it here. The cherry trees that came to New York were planted in what is now known as Sakura Park, up in the Riverside area of Morningside Heights. Surprisingly, it's not that popular of a spot. But let's go over a bunch of other locations that you must check out if you want to see cherry blossoms in the city. First thing to know, there are phases to the blooms. The first round of the blooms are the magnolias, which starts early in the spring, like March, followed by the Yoshino cherry blossoms, which are the white with pink flowers everyone thinks of during this time. And then there's the fluffy pink Kwanzans to end the season, late April. Of course, there are other species too, but these are the big three everyone takes pictures of. Magnolias are the prettiest, in my opinion, because the flowers are bigger and have more personality, if that makes sense. Some of the best spots to see them are Washington Square Park, Grace Church in East Village, behind the Metropolitan Museum of Art, or the Met, and inside Central Park at the Obelisk and Bethesda Fountain. Next up are the Yoshino cherry blossoms. These are considered the main show. The National Park Service benchmarks these trees at Tidal Basin to determine when peak bloom is, and the same sentiment carries over to New York City, even though we don't really have anyone determining peak season here. There are so many spots to see these flowering trees, many of them with the iconic skyline. In Manhattan, there's Central Park, of course. Cherry Hill is probably the most popular spot, and for good reason. They get incredibly fluffy, and the way they frame the San Remo building in the background, it looks like a floating castle in the sky. If you simply walk around Central Park during this time, you can find a tree at every turn. Other notable spots include Pilgrim Hill and the lake. Roosevelt Island is an absolute must to check out. It's so popular here during the day though, so if you want to come here when it's empty, you're going to have to come early in the morning at sunrise, which is usually around 6:30 a.m. at this time of year. There are two main ways to get here, either by the F train or the tram. I think the tram is one of the cutest novelty experiences that everyone should do at least once in New York. The Instagrammable spot, if you will, is on the south side of Queensboro Bridge. The tree tunnel here makes for really good compression shots, which is probably why it's so popular. The ultimate spot to see Yoshino cherry blossoms in NYC is across the East River at Gantry Plaza State Park in Long Island City, Queens. There are Yoshino cherry blossoms all lined around the turf field of Hunters Point South, and when there's a fiery sunset, this view with the skyline is absolutely incredible. I can't get enough. I tell everyone Gantry is the best spot in all of NYC, and for good reason. Look at it. When this video was taken, this is another example of where the weather was initially looking crummy, but after the sun went down, I was treated to an amazing blue hour sunset burn. Do you see why it's necessary to still go out even if the weather doesn't seem to be cooperating? I would have missed this if I stayed in. After I posted this on my Instagram stories, so many people went to Gantry the next day and were treated to an even better sunset burn. Funny enough, that day was cloudy and gray as well. Another area further into Queens to find Yoshinos are in Flushing Meadows Corona Park. You might recognize this from a certain alien movie. If you missed the peak for these, don't fret. There's another round with the Kwanzans. Let's go through some of the best spots to see those. The Brooklyn Botanic Garden is the reigning Kwanzan champ. They have an esplanade dedicated to the rows of these cherry trees that look so fluffy and beautiful. It does cost money to go in, but there are discounts for both students and seniors. Also, give yourself extra time to walk around other parts of the campus and outside in front of the Brooklyn Museum. It's a pretty big campus. If you want to time it perfectly on when to go, the BBG website has a live tracker which is very helpful. If you can go during the week in the morning, it's so quaint and peaceful. There aren't that many people there, which is a big departure from the weekends where it's a madhouse. For a real hidden gem, head over to Rainey Park in Astoria, Queens. It has some of the densest Kwanzans in the city. It's like a hidden gem because no one really comes here unless you're a local. It has partial skyline views, which is why I included it. Another good spot for sunset. Back in Manhattan, Roosevelt Island has Kwanzans too. The Yoshinos at the end of the south side will be gone, so no need to walk so far back. The north side also has a concentration of Kwanzans, which personally I think is better because you can come here during sunset hours and get shots with the skyline, something you can't really do from the other side. Also, quick note, don't let bad weather stop you from stepping outside. This time of year it's typically rainy. It's spring after all. If you wait for a quote-unquote perfect day, you might miss your opportunity. Many times, the bad weather adds character. At Roosevelt Island, for instance, it gave an eerie, foggy feel and was epic. Apparently, people from Iceland have a saying, "There's no such thing as bad weather, only bad planning." In this case, it's so true. Central Park also has Kwanzans. It has everything if you haven't noticed by now. One of my favorite spots in NYC, the Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis Reservoir, has cherry trees all lined up along the perimeter of the runner's loop, and you can get some great framing with Central Park South, aka Billionaire's Row. I like bringing people here because at the north end of the reservoir, you're able to see the sides of the Upper East, Upper West, and South all at the same time. My favorite tree, yes, I have one of those, cascades over the fence into the water. And there you have it. This is a pretty comprehensive starting list of locations around NYC to see cherry blossoms. There's of course a ton more spots that I didn't cover. If you have some suggestions, leave them in the comments so I can check them out for next year. If you found this helpful, like and subscribe, and hope to see you in the next video.